Okay guys, welcome back. Now as we are nearing the anniversary of the game, I mean it's almost right around the corner, we will be in for some very interesting surprises. I believe most of us already know that Titans are going to be released on
Warp
the
drive
anniversary. At
active.
least that's what the developers have told us in one of the last Ask Me Anything events that they have hosted a couple months ago. Now, while we still don't have any confirmation on Titans, we know that Supercapitals are definitely right around the corner for the next month. And in the recent announcement, they basically did show us some of the next new big, very big boats. So, I'm here on their official site, New Ship Preview. Now we have seen the advanced ships, the new battleships, Tempest Fleet Issue, Megatron Navy, Raven Navy, and the Apocalypse Navy. They are basically Marauders. They have a very nice tank and they have some very nice DPS as well. We also have received some special cruisers, Celos, Chameleon, Fiend, and the Adrestia. Now, there's this thing, the Supercarrier, that I haven't played. Now, I haven't used this ship yet, although I have plans to do a fitting video for it. I think it will be very interesting to see what the Supercarrier will do. And well, here you can read about the stats. It can access high sec equipped with micro-drift with higher warp speeds, EM eject mode, shield defense, effective EM and thermal resistance, multiple system options. It has a lot of interesting stats about it, but I'll be doing a detailed fitting guide for this ship as well very soon. Basically waiting for the test server to be online in order to be able to play around with all of these ships. And now, the new Supercarriers, or the so-called Super Chunks. So, this is the Wyvern, then we have Hell, Aeon, and there is the Nyx. Now, these ships are huge. They are about, I think they were about 10 kilometers long or something like that. I mean, they're Supercapitals, the first edition of Supercapitals to be added in the game. And I believe very soon after these ships are out, around August, we will see the Titans as well. Now, they have given us some stats that I'll be covering today. Now, the Wyvern has shorter fighter range, shorter carrier maneuverability, a bit higher fighter defense, nice fighter damage, and very good carrier defense. Prominent feature, radar jamming. So these things might be able to prevent you from locking on ships. I believe they will be having a, let's say, utility use. They're mostly ships built for a fleet. Don't eat the Supercapitals alone, because they are definitely not meant for that type of combat. After all, they're huge and they're very easy to get tackled. And the Wyvern does have a very interesting hull design. I mean, these ships are pretty. There is no denying there. Mimeter Hell. Now I like how all of these Supercarriers have the single name there, but Mimeter Hell. This thing is supposedly special for some reason. I don't know why. Fighter range is short, carrier maneuverability is a little bit higher. After all, this is a Mimeter ship. Fighter defense is on the lower side, carrier defense is a bit higher, and fighter damage is maximum. So this is going to be a pretty interesting boat to test out. I like how all of these ships are different, and that also will reflect on their ability in combat when I start using them. I'll be doing a fitting guide for all of these ships, by the way, already planned, and I'll be already doing it. Prominent feature, drive jamming. Now, drive jamming seems like a bonus on disruptors, or perhaps even a perhaps even a scrambler. That's something that I'll have to test out to see what it can do. Overall, the hell will be very interesting. Now, let's go to the next one. Aeon, Supercarrier Aeon. Fighter range is maximum, carry maneuverability is on the lower side, fighter defense is maximum and carry defense is also maximum, while the fighter damage is a little bit lower. So this ship will perhaps be a very tanky one. I mean, I believe most of the supercarriers have the potential to be extremely tanky, and I'll be testing that out when I get a chance to fly them. Prominent feature, energy neutralization. So this supercarrier might have a bonus on neutralizers, and perhaps it even might have a bonus on Nosferatus. Now that's, of course, that's still up to debate, but based on the feature energy neutralization, I expect to have some very nice neutralizers on this big boat. And since this is a armor ship, you can use the thermal circulation on it for an armor tank, so the Aeon is probably going to be one of the, well, tankiest, perhaps the tankiest supercarrier, with some pretty good damage and with some pretty tanky fighters. Now the fighter speed is also very important. That aspect of supercarriers will be beneficial in some cases, although that's mostly when you have to fight smaller ships, so the Aeon might not be the best if you get jumped by a bunch of small ships, but again, it will be very interesting to see how the ship performs in actual combat. So yeah, that's the Aeon and the Nyx. Now I believe this might be players' favorites out of the 4 supercarriers. I know I have seen a lot of these ships in EVE Online, and I've seen the most supercarriers I've seen was a Nyx actually. So this might be player's favorite, mostly because of that fantastic fighter damage. It has maximum fighter damage. The defense is a bit lower, the fighter defense is also low, and the carry maneuverability is pretty high. So you get a decently, I guess, a fairly fast supercarrier with very good DPS. Prominent feature, fire control jamming. Now what is fire control jamming? Perhaps they are talking about the gun disruptor and tracking disruptor. I believe that's what they're talking about. Or perhaps they will have a totally new module that is basically suppressing the fire of incoming ships. Overall, again, a very interesting prominent feature. Now when I say prominent feature, it can be a special mode. It can be a special mode like the special mode that we have on the new ships, on the new cruisers to be more specific. Or it can be something like a skill bonus, or it even could be a totally new module that the ship has bonus for. Overall, there is a lot of things that we can talk about here. Now the supercarriers will be able to use more heavier fighters. When I say more heavy fighters, the large fighters, because the current carriers have the light ones. These things will be able to operate the heavy ones, the big ones. Now the big fighters are going to be slow, and that makes them not really suitable for chasing down smaller targets. They're going to be generally used against big boats, and big boats like other carriers, dreadnoughts, battleships and things like that. So we can expect the new fighters to be added as well. And as for the rigs, perhaps we might see some new rigs for these ships. And in the future, I would say we can expect faction supercarriers. When I say faction supercarrier, the Revenant for example, they will probably be able to use the so-called lightweight battlecruisers, lightweight battleships, because I know there is a description in one of the ships where it says, in one of the modules, it basically says that they can use lightweight battleships. So yeah, I think we all could have guessed that the lightweight battleships might come with the faction Supercarriers. That's what I expect. I mean, it was obvious back when the normal, well, not normal, but back when the faction normal carriers were released, they had the lightweight ships, and we can expect the same thing with the faction Supercarriers. They will have lightweight options for lightweight battleships and lightweight battlecruisers, and cruisers probably. So that's going to be quite interesting. And of course, here we have some more. We also expect to receive the ship naming option very soon. That's one thing that I wasn't really that excited for, but it's nice to have. Always nice to have stuff like that. So now, when I was asked to basically do a video on all of the new ships, I'm working on that, don't worry. I'll be covering all the ships. No ship in the game, well, new one, will not be. I'll just, do a video on every single one of them. Currently, as I mentioned before, I'm waiting for the test server to be updated so that I can get my hands on these ships, and so that I can do a test flight, and so that I can play around with the builds. I believe it will be quite interesting to see what the Navy battleships will do. Now, I said that they're kind of like Marauders, and they are kind of like Marauders. They have very nice resistance, and they have very nice DPS. So I believe I'll be able to create a bunch of very interesting builds for these ships. Both cheap and both expensive. I'll be playing around with that. I'll do the same with the rest of the cruisers, and I'll be doing the same with the new Supercarriers when they get released. Now, when they will be released in June, they'll be out in June. Now, I believe it will be the first week of June. I might be wrong on this one, but I expect it to be in the first or perhaps the start of the second week of June. That's when we can expect to see the new Supercarriers. Honestly, the last 3 months in the game have been really wild. So many new things and so much stuff's been added. Like half a year of or a full year of content added in 2 months. Kind of interesting. And there is a lot more things coming up ahead as well. We can expect to see a bunch of different ships, from small to big to medium, basically all sizes, because they seem to be starting to utilize the manufacturing option, the manufacturing method that the faction carriers have introduced, and they'll be adding a lot more ships that are going to be obtainable via that way, which will make the industry working a bit more. One thing that I don't like are the boxes. I mean, no one likes the boxes, but they are not permanent. I don't know why. I mean, I can kind of see why they added the boxes. I'm not a fan of them, but I can see why they added them. They have received tons of complaint about how long it takes to fly the new ships. So I guess because of that, they added the boxes. I don't know. Just my expectation. That's just my guess. What happened? I've seen a lot of complaints on that aspect. So I can kind of see why they did it that way. But hopefully, they don't do the same thing with the next ships. I mean, I say hopefully. We will see what will happen. But the new Supercapitals will definitely eat a lot of resources. Now, I also talked about the full run gas and the full run modules. Perhaps that will be also released. The full run modules are going to be very interesting. Will improve the DPS even more. Yeah, and also at the same time improve tank even more. So I'm definitely going to be looking out for that. New modules are definitely on the horizon. So I just have the feeling that we will receive, besides new ships, that we'll receive some new modules for basically all sizes. So that's going to be probably interesting. And well, with that being said, that's this little update for today that was just released, and just want to keep you guys informed on the new stuff added to the game and new updates. So with that being said, hope that you guys enjoyed, and with that being said, if you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. Fly safe, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.